At number 20, I've got Matthew Kennedy. Does one of our midfielders, I suppose the big 4 or 5, get squeezed out? I've got a feeling one of them may get squeezed out. I'm not quite sure which one it is, but I got Kennedy at 20. He's a super footballer. I really do. I think he's a very, very good footballer, and he brings so much to this team when his body is sound. He's not the type of footballer that can carry any niggle. It just makes him as slow as a wet week. But he's tough, he's hard, he's a good kick. He's a difficult matchup when he goes forward. When he's on, he's on. He can string together a real good block of good form, of really good form. So I don't know. I just don't know whether we can fit them all in to the one team. Just because I've got him at 20, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm penciling him in for a game week in, week out. So it will come down to maybe balance, and it could come down to form as well. But he's still such a very effective player, Matthew Kennedy. I'm not predicting any second-year blues for Ollie Hollands. In fact, my big prediction, well, it's not even a big prediction, is that he'll make even bigger strides in his second season in the AFL. If you watch this kid go about his business at training, and we don't get the opportunity to do that on a regular basis, but he's a fucking machine. He really is an absolute machine, and I think he will have one of those wings well and truly his own this season. He is a running machine. I feel his skill and his composure will only get better with time. He's never going to be an absolute super kick of the football. The area of his game I would like to see develop over the course of the next 12 months to 2 years is his goal kicking. He only kicked 2 goals from 19 games last year. And I think the best wingers in the competition, and he's only coming into his second season, are wingers who consistently hit the scoreboard. And I think Blake Acres showed that, and he's a lot older last season. So Ollie Hollands for me is, he's something else, and it's pretty bloody exciting to see him come through. And I'm looking forward to doing this again in 12 months' time to see if he does have second year blues, or whether he actually gets even better. Maybe I've got a little bit excited and I've got this guy a little low or a bit high. But Jesse Mlop at 18 might surprise a few. But part of this is projecting what I think this kid can become, okay? Not just in the future, but as early as 224. I think on occasions last year, he showed that he could be an elite forward of the competition. And can he bring that consistency? He played the 21 games. Can he hit the scoreboard on a more consistent basis? He kicked a goal a game at least. He kicked 24 from his 21. Kicked 4 where he changed the game pretty much against Port Adelaide. Very good against Melbourne when we needed goals, clutch goals. He's got something very special about him, Jesse Mlop. He had a little bit of a downtime last year where he had to go back to the VFL, but I've got him clearly our best small forward, our most exciting small forward moving forward. And by the look of it, this looks like a very astute pick up by our recruiting officer, Nick Austin. So Jesse Mlop is one to look out for this season. There's no doubt over the last couple of years, the penny has dropped some of our big name recruits that were brought into the football club. And I was pretty fucking savage when this bloke first arrived at Carlton, but I reckon he would have had a super year last year before he did his ACL, and that is Zack Williams at 17. At his very best, he might be a little bit lower than that, but given the uncertainty around that ACL and whether he's ready to go right here, right now is questionable, Will it take some time for him to work back in to things? He was just starting to get his act together before he did his ACL. I remember that last game against Collingwood in 222. He played exceptionally well and got us back into the team, into the game as a running half back. I think it's just super exciting to get him back in and assist the likes of Adam Saad with that run and gun and that carry and that in that being brave and proactive from a pretty sort of stagnant back half at times. So I'm just super excited. Super excited to see what Zack Williams can bring to the table this season. At 16, George Hewett. I just go back to the round 22 game, the really crucial game against the D's at the MCG. We just needed to keep winning, and we were down on troops through the midfield, and he was enormous that night. 33 disposals. He was in everything. He almost put the team on his shoulders, Georgie, and I know he probably hasn't reproduced that form, mostly because of his back condition since that unbelievable patch when he first arrived at the club from Sydney. But he's still super consistent and super important with his ball hunting ability. He's probably our player with Matthew Cottrell who can play a lockdown role through the middle of the ground, which makes him super important for us. He's in the veteran stage now, and right at that point in his career where he would just be itching to have real team success, which makes him fucking very, very important and vital for us in 2024, Georgie Hewett. He's a fucking really good player, this bloke. At 15, I've got Caleb Marchbank, and it's only durability and putting together a full season on the park, which is held him back. I thought he was really good in the finals. Really good. I thought he was nearly our best player in the prelim against Brisbane. Played well against Sydney, particularly early in that game with his intercept marking. Very courageous. I think if he can just remain on the park, he's going to be fucking important for us. Really important. He's smart. He's super tough and super courageous. I think his ball use is underrated as well. And I just think, if we can somehow, and I know it's a year-to-year proposition thing with Caleb Marchbank, but if we can somehow rebuild that body and keep him playing consistent football, look out. I think he's just, he's a terrific footballer. I've had egg on my face plenty of times on this channel over the journey, and I'm more than happy to have egg on my face again with this call. And maybe this is a huge call right here, right now. But sneaking into the top 15 at number 14 on my ranking going into the 224 season is Jordan Boyd. And I repeat that name, Jordan Boyd. Yes, the number 37 who's played 16 games of AFL football. He was picked up as a mid-season rookie pick in 221. 7 games in his first season, and then a further 9 games last season. Admittedly, last season was derailed with a foot injury, which kept him out until round 10, and then an untimely and unlucky suspension after the Port Adelaide game with that sling tackle. But the club and the match committee could not wait to get him back in for that prelim final, and he showed in that game. And maybe I'm just getting a little bit carried away with Jordan Boyd, but I honestly believe, guys, that down back where we do have some, not so much significant concerns, but it's probably the area of the ground that will need to show the most growth this year, and that is ball movement, that he is the man. He is the man that you want the ball in the hands of, because what the opposition did particularly well last year was put the clamps on Adam Saad, who was still terrific, but in combination with Jordan Boyd, they can't keep the clamps on all of them. And this is the bloke that you want the ball in the hands of between the arcs and pumping that ball inside forward 50. And I think he's just going to grow with a tremendous amount of confidence after what he was able to produce last year. And that is Jordan Boyd. He is a penetrating kick. He's as hard as a duck's beak defensively. But once he gets that confidence going, I think we're going to see an excellent player. He's been frustrating. He's been a bit of a tease across his AFL career. It's taken a long time for this bloke to, I think, mature. But I think we saw nearly the best of Jack Martin in the games he played, the 13 games he played in 2023. I thought he was so very important for us. Injuries has obviously got the better of him across his AFL career thus far, but potentially attitude as well at times. But as that hybrid forward, and now with Jack Silvani going down, he is the one that just gives that forward line something different. He's extremely tough, a nightmare of a matchup. He's classy, his ball use is excellent, he gets up the ground. He's not a huge possession winner, which is okay, but every time he gets the ball, he does something with it. And I just think if we can keep this guy on the park, he just makes us such a better football team. Jack Martin at 13.